Yo, what's up, guys? Bravo YGL here, coming at you with another video. And today I have a deck profile for you guys on the deck that I have been wanting to show you guys and actually get a hold of myself. And that is, as you guys can see, the DDD deck. Played this today at my locals, got second place. It's my first time, not my first time playing in a tournament setting. I tried it before it was really finished, but deck is complete today, and I got second place. But so let's get into it. Starting off with the Pendulum Monsters in the main deck. We got 3 Kep, 3 Copernicus, 3 Griffin. These are the 3 Pendulum Monsters that you play 3 of. Very, very essential to your combo, to any combo. I feel like if you open up any combination of these, like a Kepler and a Cope, Griffin, you're gonna get the full combo. Kepler, we all know what Kepler does. On summon, he gets a Dark Contract. And also on summon, his other effect is he bounces a DDD card back to your hand, which would be really useful maybe later in game or depending on the game state to bounce a scale back to your hand. It should be super useful. Open those skills to go into another Gilgamesh or activate Gilgamesh Fish or whatever you have it. 3 Copernicus. This is just a fool's barrier for anything you need in the deck, any DDD monster in the deck. Typically, we're either dumping Necro Slime or Vice Typhoon or Landmill, depending on the game state. Griffin, DD Griffin. You have to play 3 of this card. This card, I want to say single-handedly unlocked a next level for DDD, but it had a big part in it. This card is it does absolutely everything for the deck. It's extension. It's a low scale. It searches a DD card, which is crazy. Typically we search in Trap Card, Headhunt, the new one, which we'll get to. It's a Snatch Steal, but super wild, bro. Super wild. DD Griffin is a very, very good card. When it's pin summoned, you get to discard a Dark Contractor DDD card or DD card and draw one. It does everything for the deck. Next we have like the utility pin monsters. 2 Orthros. I'm gonna say 3. 2 Orthros. 1 Rag. We used to play 2, but we're gonna stick with 1 Rag. 1 Rage, Thomas, and Cerberus. Orthros, in a perfect world, Orthros and Ragnarok are the 2 skills you're gonna set off of your Gilgamesh most of the time. But this card's really good. Orthros, what it does, you target a DD monster, a DD card, a DD or Dark Contract card on your side of the field, and 1 spell or trap card, and you destroy them both. Ragnarok, when it's in scale, he special summons 1 from your graveyard when you special summon another DD monster. Really good. Rage, he's mostly here because he's a scale 0, but this card itself is so crazy. What it does is monster effect. You can tribute a card or tribute a monster. Is it a card? I believe it's a card. Yeah, you tribute a monster. And you apply 1 of 3 effects. This card can either attack directly, or your opponent, or you can say your opponent can activate set spell or trap cards on the field, or your opponent can activate monster effects from the hand, or just card effects from the hand. And you don't have to tell your opponent which effect you're using until the effect is resolving. Super crazy card. Thomas, we don't use his field effect a lot, but we do use his scale effect a lot. It just adds a face-up DD monster from your face-up extra deck to your hand. And Cerberus is only here to pair with the Rage. It helps Kepler be a 1-card combo, you know, in situation where you don't open up the best hand. Something I forgot to bring up with Orthros and Rag. Orthros, if this card's in your hand, if you take damage, you can special summon it from your hand onto the field, which does come up in the main combo line. That does come up because you use it to make Siegfried with your Griffin. And Ragnarok, when it's normal special summon, you can special summon a DDD monster from your graveyard. onto your field, and his second effect, you can tribute a monster on your field and banish target one monster your opponent controls and banish it. So there we go for these. And the last pendulum monster that we're playing is Archfiend Eccentric. We are playing the this is our bridge for our small worlds. Moving on to the non-DDD monsters. I mean, the non-pendulum monsters, excuse me. We have 3 slime. This is the only other DDD. This is the only non-pendulum monster we're playing 3 of. Super important. You want to see it in your open hand. If not, it's not the end of the world. But both these cards effect come up essential to the combo. It's fusion effect to get the baby Genghis onto the field. Then when this card's in graveyard, you can banish it. Special summon a DD monster from your hand. Super good. And next we have a bunch of one-of. We have 1 Lamia, 1 Vice Typhoon, and 1 Necro Slime. These are kind of like utility cards. I remember how Lamia used to be super important to the old DDD strategies. But now we just use 1. It's more used as an extender if you open it. Sometimes there are plays where you have to use Lamia and D-Arc, the level 7 fusion, to make a Siegfried. Vice Typhoon is basically the same thing as Necro Slime. It just gets out your big Genghis, your level 8 Genghis. And it can only be used, that effect can only be used to banish from the graveyard to fusion summon to turn this into the graveyard. So please be aware of that. And we have Necro Slime. We all know what Necro Slime does. It's the same thing as Swirl Slime, but just in the grave. And these 2 are typically what we're dumping off of Copernicus when the situation calls for it. Either one of those, depending on the game state. And sometimes, very rarely, but sometimes Lamia. But that's it for the DDD portion of the deck. Next, we're going to move on to the hand traps I played. We played 10 hand traps. So we played 3 Nib, 3 Ash Blossom, 2 Ogre. Ogre's so crazy this format. And 2 Veiler. I was playing Imperms over this, but you do run into a problem with Imperms. When you're going first, typically your inboard is 2 Scales, your Search Headhunt, and you have either 1 or 2 Dark Contracts on the field. So you really don't have anywhere to set an Imperm. If you were going first, you have nowhere to put it. So I did drop the Imperms for the Veilers. Worked out really well today. 3 Nibiru, just a super high impact hand trap. Really punish your opponent for the really combo decks and not playing around it or not having a way to play around it. And if you nib at the right time, you make it really tough for your opponent to play through it. So I think nib is super necessary, super good. Just an extremely high impact hand trap. Ash Blossom is a very generic hand trap. Hits just about any deck. Ash Blossom pair with another hand trap is pretty solid. I feel like I never want to see just, depending on what deck I'm playing against, I never want to see just 1 Ash Blossom in my hand as my only interaction. But Ash pair with like a Veiler or Veiler plus Nib is just OTK. I mean, FTK that's crazy. You let them make their full board, and then they pull up a negate. You Nib the chain of negate. They have to. You Veiler their monster, clear their board. And 2 Ghost Ogre, bro. Ghost Ogre is so good, bro. It hits so much this format. I Ghost Ogre like 3 or 4 Faithful Adventures today. In the tourney, bro. Crazy. Put in a lot of work. It hits the Flunderies map. If you play the mirror, it hits the Dark Contract cards. Like, it's just so good. So good. If you have an opponent trying to Rodon, like Hulk combo they activate Hulk, you can Ghost Ogre to Hulk, and they just can't make a Rodon. Like, the fact that Ogre, it doesn't negate, but the fact that it removes the body from the field is extremely important. Really good. So that's it for the hand traps. We played 10. And we're going to move on to the spell cards. Let's start with the Dark Contract cards. Pretty standard. We play 3 gate. Standard. It's the Searcher, it's the Rota. 1 fusion, 1 patent license. Not much to explain here. This is pretty much the standard lineup. We all know what these do. This search is for you. This is another fusion spell. And patent license. I guess I'll go over since it's new. Patent license on. You rarely, I don't say rarely ever, but most of the time you don't use it for its own field effect. You actually use it to dump off of King Tail when it gets sent to the graveyard. That's how we get the Orthros back in our hand from our pin zone to get in the hand to special something from hand later on to make our 6 free. When this card leaves the field, or when this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add a DD monster from your hand. Not from your hand, from your face-up extra deck or your graveyard to your hand. And that's most of the time that's the effect that we're using. And the last 4 spells are consistency cards. We have the 2 Small World and the 2 Map. And I guess 5 and the 1 for 1. Just the way for us to get Kepler out of the grave. I mean Kepler from the deck. Or anything we need from any level 1 deck from the deck, but mostly Kepler. But to these consistency cards here, I have very opposing views on these. I don't like Map at all. I don't say at all, but I don't like the fact if you didn't have to lose half your life points at the resolution of this card would be insane. It's just with DDDs we burn ourselves so much. Anyway, just this is how the deck works and how we play. So if I have to if I'm going first and I open Map and I have to use the Map, you have to use it at start the main phase, by the way. And I use the Map. After I use Map and I go through my full combo, I'm into my turn with 2,000 life points because I'm gonna take 4,000 from this. I'm gonna take 1,000 from Gilgamesh and I'm gonna take 1,000 from Ragnarok and Scale. So I'm down to 2,000. And I end with 2 gates on my field. 2 Dark Contract gates are going to burn me for 1,000 on my standby phase. So let's say for some reason my Mocking X doesn't get the trigger or gets the effects gets negated or something, and I don't get to pop these gates. If I don't have a way to deal with these, I'll just lose during my next standby phase. So Map puts you in a really particular situation. But on the other hand, I think Small World is so good. Archfiend Eccentric is literally a bridge to any card in your deck. It literally gets you any card that you want. I'm talking hand trap. Only hand trap that it can't fetch you is Ghost Lord, because they're both light level 3. But this searches you any DD monster. Like, it's super good. Archfiend Eccentric is the perfect bridge for this deck, for the Small World bridge for this deck. Honestly, if I had a 3rd Small World, I would probably play a 3rd Small World and cut a Map. Maybe, maybe not. While I was playing it, I mean, I saw Small World a lot today. Enough today to where I feel like I wouldn't miss it at 2. I wasn't missing anything by playing 2. And Map came up too. I mean, don't get me wrong, Map's a good card. It's just that pay half the life points that really hinders this card from being great. I was playing Allure Darkness before this. I'll tell you now, do not play Allure Darkness. Allure Darkness is not good. Because typically when decks that play Allure Darkness, all of your dark monsters pretty much have the same effect or kind of do the same things. Every DD monster does something different in his deck, and it's really tough to banish any of them. So I would not play Allure Darkness in this deck. And our last card of the main deck is the Lone Trap card, DD Headhunt. You typically searching this off of Griffin, and it's just a snatch steal, bro. It's super crazy cards. If you control a DD monster, you target a monster your opponent controls. Take control over to the end of my turn, of your turn. And if it's special summon from the extra deck, it's treated as a DD monster. So literally, if you take someone that was from the extra deck, you can slap your Mocking X over it like it's a DD monster, and they just don't get that card back. Super good, super crazy. I believe the main deck is 42 or 43. Moving on to the extra deck. There's 3 links. 3 of the Gilgamesh, the heart and soul of this deck. The best card in the deck, honestly. This, can you imagine, bro? If another, I said this in my replay video. Can you imagine if another pendulum strategy had a card that had a monster that literally said place 2 scales from your deck, and the fact that it places 2 scales from your deck and doesn't activate them, plays around the card like anti spell fragrance. So we literally just don't care about that card. Anti spell fragrance does nothing against our strategy. Gilgamesh is crazy, and it floats. If it's destroyed by battle or your opponent's card effect, it's special summon the DD monster from your extra deck. Wild, super crazy. As if the card wasn't broken enough. Moving on to our XZs. 1 Wave King Caesar, 1 King Tail, 1 High Wave King Caesar, 2 the new card Machinex, and 1 Zeus. We run, like, as you can see, we run a ton of XEs, and Machinex can slap itself over any DDD monster. So you end on this, but this can also be used as almost like a big downer for your DDD monsters to slap Zeus over, depending on the game situation. Wave King and King Tail. These 2 cards are just used in combo. Wave King to search a dark contract, and King Tail to 1, burn your opponent and make a card on the field, lose 1,000 attack and defense. And 2, Foolish Burial, DD a dark contract card from your deck. Caesar, this is one of the big bosses that we end on. It's a Solemn Warning. It's a double Solemn Warning. It's not once per turn. It's a quick effect. When your opponent activates, when a monster spell or trap effect is activated that will special summon a monster, detach 1 material from this card and negate it and destroy. And then target 1 DD monster on your field and this card to make them gain 1800 attack. That is not once per turn, by the way. It's not once per chain. Card is super crazy. Deuce Machinex, the other card, like I said, Griffin might have single-handedly unlocked another level for this deck. Machinex is definitely there with it. It's another big boss monster that we typically end on our during our inboard. What it does, you can detach 2 materials from it, or you can destroy a dark contract card you control. And when your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, you pay the cost to either detach or to destroy, and you attach that monster, your opponent's monster, to this card's material. And that's once per chain. So literally, if you have 2 dark contracts up, so it's all gonna have 1 material under it. You pop a dark contract, take a monster that's 2 materials. You pop another dark contract, take a monster that's 3 materials. And then if they have something else, you detach 2 and attach again, and then you have 2 more materials under it. You literally get 4 chances to disrupt them with this card by taking their monster, which is super crazy, super duper crazy. And we all know what Zeus does. We all know what Zeus does. No need to explain that. Moving on from the XCs, we'll move on to our fusions. 2 Baby Gang. These are the 2 level 6s that we use to make our High Wave King Caesar. 1 D-Arc and 1 Big Gang. If there's a flex spot in this extra deck, I think it's the D-Arc. Right now, I'm gonna stick with the D-Arc, but I'm leaning toward maybe the next tournament I play in, I'll switch this out for the Dark Charmer to see which one I like more. But D-Arc does come up sometimes where maybe you have a Lamia engraved and you summon this, and then you get to use this in a Lamia to make Siegfried. And I also like that D-Arc lets you gain life points, so it's something you could do in time against your opponent to win. So that's why I kept it in over Dark Charmer, but I'm thinking next event I play in, I'm going to test out Dark Charmer and see how I like that. With Baby Gang and Big Gang, they do the same thing for the most part. While this card's on the field, cards once per turn. If a DD monster is special summoned, you can special summon the DD monster from your graveyard. And this card has the same effect, but it's normal or special. If a DD monster is normal or special summon, you can special summon one from your graveyard. And also, this card is a spell trap negate on your turn. So on your opponent's turn, it doesn't, but on your turn, it is. Which is not, it's not bad. It would be better if it was just a spell trap negate, just period, like Siegfried. But we'll take those. And lastly, the last two cards are Siegfried and Baron. Baron doesn't come up a lot. Any hand where you open up if you have full combo, if you open up like an Orthros, typically is when you make Baron on your fifth summon to play around the Biru. And Siegfried, it's like an imperm but for spelling traps. It targets a plays a spell trap and negates its effect to the next standby phase. This card's really good. Yeah, you typically end on this card. Not much to explain there. This deck was super duper fun to play, super challenging to play. I like to push whenever I pick up a new deck. I really like to push myself as far as the decks I do play. I think this deck is super challenging, super big brained, and I 100% misplayed a lot today during this tournament. I misplayed in game 3 of the final round. Really cost me. But I'm still learning. I'm still getting comfortable. All in all, to get second place, and this only be my second time playing this deck in tournament. First time playing it while it's fully complete and getting second. It's not bad. But with that being said, guys, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Leave a comment what you guys think about the deck. Have you guys picked it up? Are you interested in it? But with that being said, guys, I appreciate you guys for watching. Bravo Wagio signing off.